There's nothing more frustrating than doing everything right, keeping your thoughts positive, staying grateful, doing vision boards, and still feeling stuck. I've been there. It starts to feel like you're doing all the work, but you're locked out of the results. Like you're watching the life you want from behind glass, close enough to see it, but never touch it. And after a while, you start to wonder if maybe you're the problem. I want to let you know that there's something deeper going on here, something most people don't talk about, and that's exactly what we're going to get into today. Let's cue the reel. People often think manifestation is about just thinking positive or repeating affirmations and feeling grateful every day. They believe if they just keep their vibration high, their dreams will magically show up. But the truth is, those things alone can only take you so far. Positive thinking without real inner work can feel like painting over a cracked wall. It might look good for a moment, but the cracks don't disappear. They're still there underneath it all. And vision boards and affirmations are tools, yes, but if you don't address what's really going on inside, they won't move the energy enough to create lasting change. When I hear just think positive, when it comes to manifestation, I imagine a clown with a smile painted on its face. It is always there, even when the person isn't smiling with their face. And that is what being misaligned looks like. You need to have the thoughts that create feelings that trigger you to want to smile in the first place for things to be real. Forcing it won't do anything because you can't trick the universe. It talks in energy and you put out the energy you're feeling. So if you're feeling upset, that's what it's going to feel, despite the fact that you're forcing a smile on your face. Sometimes manifestation feels impossible to people because it's often treated like a quick fix. Like this formula you can plug your desires into and get instant results. When in fact, manifestation isn't magic, it's a process, a deep process that asks you to confront the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. When you rely on positive thinking alone, you're only working with your conscious mind. You might be aware of what you want, but your subconscious beliefs, your fears, doubts, and limiting stories still hold the real power. Those hidden parts can block your progress without you even realizing it. You may want to find the love of your life, but deep down believe that you don't deserve to be loved in that way. Or you might want a dream job, but deep down believe that you have your own project to work on instead of furthering someone else's dream by working at their company. You might desire a big, beautiful house for your family, but don't believe that you could ever afford it because you believe you had bad luck with money. These are all prime examples of limiting beliefs. So if you're feeling stuck, it's not because you're doing manifestation wrong. It's because you're trying to manifest from a place that isn't fully aligned. True manifestation asks for more than just surface level positivity. It asks for honesty. It asks for surrender, for trust in the process, even when you can't see how it will unfold. And this can feel challenging because it asks you to go inward and face very uncomfortable truths. But when you do it, the real transformation starts. And not only will you start to manifest what you want, you will feel better because you are healing yourself and changing your subconscious beliefs, fears, doubts, limiting stories. Who wouldn't want that even without the possibility of manifestation attached to it? I want to get personal here because I know what it feels like to be stuck in the place where manifestation seems impossible. For years, I was doing all the quote-unquote right things, positive thoughts, affirmations, gratitude lists, visualizations, and I just felt frustrated because what I wanted wasn't happening. Eventually, I started going deeper. I started paying attention to what I truly wanted, trusting my intuition fully, and learning to surrender control. After that, I intentionally manifested my spouse, my dream home, and what felt like at the time my dream job. I also think it's important to note that you manifest what you believe you want at that time. The house or job might not be what you want later down the road, and that's important to remember. I think sometimes people get stuck on what they manifested and are like, oh, this is everything I ever wanted, but you change and things change. And when you keep digging with yourself and going inward, you may find that what you thought you wanted is really not what you wanted. For instance, the job I manifested started changing in ways that didn't feel right, in ways that just didn't suit me anymore. So I asked the universe for something different, something aligned with what I would find joy in. Almost immediately upon asking for this, I was fired. I think it was 4 or maybe 5 days later after asking the universe, and it felt awful in the moment. I had to go off camera during it because I was emotional. I felt rejected, like I had failed. I felt guilty for not being able to do enough to hold the position. And what made it even harder was that for the 6 months before I was fired, I was struggling with an undiagnosed autoimmune disorder. I had no energy, brain fog, and I felt utterly incapable of doing anything. So being fired by a company that knew what I was going through felt like a deep rejection, not just professionally, but as a human being. Still, even in that pain, my soul was telling me that this was supposed to happen. It was screaming at me to trust the process and what was happening to me during that call that I was fired in. That voice and intuition helped me be strong in that moment and find my way through after it. It told me to trust that it was part of a bigger plan to push me inward to help me figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And that's when I knew I had to start listening, surrendering, and aligning with what felt true. And even when it was scary and unclear, I did that work. I went through the process of having a job, then I joined the military, then I went to college, and then I got out and found a job after job after job, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And I really thought I did. I really thought I landed in a place that I thought I would stay for years and years. And that just turned out to not truly be what I wanted to do. Since being fired, I've been on a spiritual journey of healing and growth. And the biggest part of that journey is sharing what I've learned with people who feel stuck like I did many times in my life here on this podcast, and helping others move from feeling powerless to thriving in life. A life that you want is something that I find abundant joy in. So back to, what does real manifestation look like? It starts with honesty. Being willing to face what's going on inside of you, not just the surface thoughts or what you want to want, but the doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that live beneath. It means surrendering control, trusting that the process is unfolding even when you can't see it. It means tuning into your intuition and being willing to follow where it leads, even if it's uncomfortable. And it means showing up consistently, not with forced positivity, but with real presence. Manifestation isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about making space for what is and choosing to create from that space. If you can do those things, it stops feeling impossible. It becomes a practice and a partnership between you and the universe or whatever higher power you believe in. And that's where the real power lives. Manifestation isn't just a quick fix or a simple checklist. It's a journey of realignment, digging beneath the surface, facing uncomfortable truths, and learning to trust what you can't see yet. And when you approach it this way, it stops feeling out of reach. After this ends, and before you move on to your next task, take a moment to ask yourself, where have you been sticking to what feels safe instead of what feels true? What hidden stories might be holding your power hostage? And spend some time journaling or meditating on this. It's the first step to breaking free and discovering who you really are and what you really want. If you found value in today's conversation, I'd love to keep the dialogue going. Leave a comment and share with someone you know who's struggling with this topic. And don't miss the next episode, where I'll be discussing what to do when you're stuck in a job you hate and how to shift your reality. We'll explore how to create change even when your current situation feels impossible. I want to thank you so much for listening and remind you to keep showing up for the version of you that knows this is possible.